Most students misunderstand these three concepts of redemption in mortgage transaction. Number one, legal right of redemption. Number two, equitable right to redeem. Number three, equity of redemption. But with this simple illustration, point A, point B, and point C, you will not find this difficult again. Now, listen carefully. At point A, the mortgage is created. So point A is the date of creation of the mortgage. Now, point B is the legal due date. At point B, the parties have agreed to repay the mortgage sum and interest. For example, if I borrow money from you and I tell you I will pay you back on the 30th of June, 30th of June is the legal due date. So point B is the legal due date. Finally, point C is the actual date the mortgage transaction comes to an end. It could be by foreclosure, exercise of power of sale, reconveyance, reassignment, redemption, and all that. At point C, the mortgage transaction comes to an end. I'll repeat this for emphasis. At point A, the mortgage is created. The date of creation of mortgage is point A. Point B is the legal due date. The agreed date for repayment of the loan and interest is point B. Now, point C is the date the mortgage comes to an end. The final determination of the mortgage is at point C. Now, listen carefully. From point A to point B, the mortgagor has legal right of redemption. From point A to point B, the mortgagor has legal right of redemption. This is the right of the mortgagor to redeem on or before the legal due date. Before the legal due date, he has legal right of redemption. Now, from point B to point C, the mortgagor has equitable right to redeem. At point B to point C, the legal due date has elapsed and equity avails the mortgagor. So the equitable right to redeem after the legal due date avails between point B to point C, provided the transaction has not been determined, has not come to an end. Finally, from point A to point B to point C, the mortgagor has equity of redemption. I repeat, from point A to point B to point C, the mortgagor has equity of redemption. Equity of redemption is the sum total of the mortgagor's interest in the transaction. It is equity of redemption that makes the transaction a mortgage transaction. It allows the mortgagor to redeem on the legal due date, before the legal due date, and even after the legal due date, provided the mortgage transaction has not come to an end by foreclosure, sale, reconveyance, and all that. The mortgagor always has equity of redemption throughout the transaction. Hence, the popular saying, once a mortgage, always a mortgage. I hope you will not forget this. From point A to point B, the mortgagor has legal right of redemption. From point B to point C, the mortgagor has equitable right to redeem. Then from point A to point B to point C, the mortgagor has equity of redemption, the sum total in the transaction. So class, these are the three confusing issues in redemption in mortgage transaction. And I believe you'll never forget this again. Our extension classes are still ongoing and open for enrollment. Do well to enroll so you won't miss out from what we're giving out. Now, if you want to see me again, you know what to do.